The college football experience, college football playoffs, props, and DFS episode on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Sign up, and when you do, sign up with the promo code TCESGPN. You get a 50% deposit bonus up to $1,000. We're also brought to you by Rhythm, the leader in data-driven picks and props. Get your free 7-day trial period today by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. That's RITHMM. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. And remember, as always, folks, to let it ride.
This is Coach June Jones, and you're listening to SGPN. Let it ride.
College football experience, college football playoff props, and DFS episode. You thought we weren't gonna sneak this one in here for in year, I guess you could say, in this year. You didn't know we were gonna get this playoff prop episode out before the new yonder. Happy early New Year, folks. I know it's still December 30th, but it's about to be December 31st here on the East Coast in a few hours. And yeah, youtube.com/the college experience. Hit that like and subscribe button. We are loaded up. All right. We had a nice DFS run a week ago. And then the big one, I'm wearing purple for a reason. Hopefully you caught the most important game, bigger than any national championship could ever be. I don't recall a referee seeing any blood from a referee in a national championship, at least in my lifetime.
Just a little dust up.
Nice little dust up. I like it. Yeah, we're gonna talk a little bit about that too, because this guy he was on the other side of that lock battle. If you're wondering who the hell you're listening to, my name is Kobe Swinging Database Dan, aka Pick Dundee. That's not a pick. This is a pick.
He was raised in the land down under, where a man thinks on his feet, speaks with his fists, and lives by his wits.
You're nothing but a chameleon, lemon-headed, coward, terrorist pussy. And I'm after you, buddy. You're going to pay for it. Good night.
Some say it was Dave Doran. Robert and I relieved of his duty.
Oh, you know what? Good. That's a good thing.
Wow. The guy was absolutely fantastic at Syracuse, fantastic at Virginia. We'll see what happens when you go to the pussy pack. You lose sight of everything.
I hadn't heard that news yet, but I think a change was needed because last couple of years the offense was not clicking like the way it should have been.
Well, don't worry. He'll go to Utah State and they'll win 11 games. Folks, I am joined by my co-host, the DFS god himself. Give it up for the rooftop IPA drinking, homebrew making, Tobacco Road living, a free lot giving, former Herndon Basketball League MVP. Give it up for NC Nick in the place to be.
There we go. What's going on, man?
You tell me, buddy. You were, this music just gets me excited. Hang on, let me just sip from my beautiful. Let me get it out of this cup holder, this old school cup holder.
What the hell is that?
Just my, I live and breathe football. How you doing? Look, I'm curious how you. I know you're a Duke fan, but it seems like you're a closet NC State fan, and I can't wait for week one. I cannot wait for week one when we go to that bullshit stadium there in Raleigh. Your thoughts on the wonderful bowl game that we almost blew, but still the refs almost blew, by the way.
Yeah, that was a very questionable call with that fumble. That wasn't a fumble. That the whistle was blown, possibly. But like Duke is number one, and then as far as my fandom with football universities or colleges in North Carolina, App State is number two. But I do root for NC State in football, so I just thought with everybody that ECU was losing, I thought NC State would have their way with them. But it meant more for ECU, and I think you could tell that they really came out there and played their best game. And congrats, you won a meaningless game in late December.
Oh, Rajay Harris, huh? How about that play call? 3rd and 10, knowing that the Pussy Pack, known for pussy tendencies, we're not going to be able to guard the run. And breaking it for what, 82 yards? Was it 84? I don't even remember. I was dancing so much.
87, something like, I don't know, something like that.
How about the Pirate fan turnout, by the way? Who did storm the field, by the way? I don't know. It wasn't talked about enough.
The only question was, why weren't you there?
It's true. I was invited, but I blame it on White Tiger. White Tiger cost me a trip to Annapolis.
I know how that goes, unfortunately, but congrats. I'm sure it was a fun win for the ECU faithful. The more important game will be coming up in about 9 months, right?
Yeah, and I mean, we'll see what happens. They're in disarray over there. Conception's at A&M. They lost their defensive coordinator. They just fired their offensive coordinator. Dave Doran's not going to know what's going on there.
Oh, it's not like ECU is not going through a bunch of changes also. So let's see who has the better offseason.
Caden Hauser's back as far as I know.
Okay. So far.
All right. Hauser, Bubby, I'm your fucking white knight. All right.
Shout out to EB Steelers and Channing Brown in the house. Yes, I'm an Orioles fan. We grew up on Orioles baseball because
went to Cal Ripken's baseball camp.
That's right. We growing up in the DC area, there was no Nationals back then. So yes, we root for the O's. Go O's.
We were doing oyster shooters at like 9 years old.
Of course, outside of Pickles Pub.
There we go.
Actually, when we first started going to Orioles game, it was Memorial Stadium. That was even before they were in Camden
We
Yards.
brought Fruit Loops. Mickey Templeton was hitting dingers. We throw those Fruit Loops out there. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah, go O's for life. Yeah, buddy. Last week, DFS, a pretty good outing. My guy Elijah Surratt kind of killed it against Notre Dame. Well, be higher than his projection.
Well, that was a lock battle with the prop portion of the show where I was on the under with Surratt and with Rourke, and I was looking good for most of the game until that like second half of the fourth quarter when all of a sudden Notre Dame drops in the prevent and Indiana, picks up a bunch of bullshit passing yardage, bullshit receiving yardage. But congrats, you got that one too.
I mean, Surratt had majority of that on the first drive. Or no, second drive after the interception. He had like a 40-yard catch.
Well, yeah, it was. I don't know if it was 40 yards, but it was 20 plus. But still, I was looking pretty good on that. But no, prop wise, there was some good, there was some bad. Really the games I really did well in. Tennessee, Ohio State. I had that Travion Henderson receiving yardage ladder. That cash in the first half. I think 50 receiving yards was plus 900. I think if I want to say. What else did we hit? I did pretty good in Clemson, Texas, where I went the over cashed on Cade Klubnik's passing touchdowns. I threw out TJ Moore over 25.5 receiving yards. He goes 9 for 116 and a touchdown. I think that just barely hit, And then I also went the higher with Quintravion Wisner rushing yardage.
I think we were both on that.
Yeah, so overall it was a pretty good day with the props. Some of them didn't come through, like Mitchell Evans and Tyler Warren. We expected big days from those two tight ends, and they didn't have it. But overall, not too shabby. And here we are, ready to do it again.
Yeah, I want to talk about a few other bowl games. We had Iowa State take down Miami, Florida. I was all over that one.
Why play a half? I mean, if you're going to play the game, if you're going to sit. But to play a half, it's like, why even dress?
It's even worse. It's like going to play. It's like going to play pickup ball with your buddies and just middle of the game saying, you know what, fuck you guys, I'm out. I would imagine 4 on 5. Yeah.
I mean, I would imagine this was planned going into the game, but still, it's
bullshit, dude. It is bullshit.
I know me and you have never played at a very high level with sports because we weren't that good
in life and anything.
Whenever I played or was on a team, I wanted to play and be in the game. I would have played like basketball. I would have played the whole freaking game if you would have let me. I don't want to be sitting on the bench
just
watching
makes-
your teammates. Get me in there.
It just makes no sense to me. And I guess for Cam Ward, you could say, well, they were still alive for the playoffs on November 30th when you played against Syracuse and lost and blew a 21-point lead.
Yeah.
But I'd want to go out with a win. First off, I mean, this is a guy that was an FCS fucking quarterback. You know what I mean? Like, you are a 0-star recruit. I just think it's bad parenting. I think it's bad everything about it. And so, someone last night in the basketball show was calling me a boomer. So be it. So fucking be it. Like, I will never understand the logic on being afraid of life.
Yeah, I mean, look, financially, I get it. If you sit out a game,
they had an insurance policy, man. You saw what Dion did to his players.
Yeah, I don't say necessarily I would do it, but I get it. But it just doesn't make a whole lot of sense to play a half.
No, even the opt-outs, man, both. But I mean, this one's even worse because you played a half. But like the opt-outs too, like it's something that I'm kind of disgusted with our society that we're at this point over the past 6 years of this happening. That it's like, yeah, EB Steeler said he played college football, and that's what I'm saying. Like, to me, I don't think you value. I don't know how our culture got it twisted. I don't know. It's whether it's agents lying to them, managers. I don't know, but I just don't understand it. Like, you are alive one time that we know of. You have an opportunity. You have an opportunity to lace up with your friends and go beat the shit out of another team. Like that. Yes, you want to make millions, sure. But that is priceless. When you're fucking 85 years old, you're not going to remember. You're not going to remember the millions in your bank account. You'll be sitting there saying, hey, man, we remember that time we beat the shit out of Iowa State? And I just don't understand it. I really think the ideology is just completely wrong on the mindset and valuing. And for a lot of these players, Nick, you saw like with the TCU game, which we locked up. TCU against Louisiana, they blew them out.
No, we didn't. I was on Louisiana.
Oh, I did.
Good call. I didn't bet it.
Well, no, but TCU had some guys opt out, like Jack Besh, right?
Yeah.
It's like, motherfucker, you played on November 30th. You weren't eligible to make the playoffs on November 30th. What has changed in 3 weeks?
Yeah,
what has changed in 3 weeks?
I get it. Like, this gives you a head start to start training for the combine. So
you're playing in a game. What could help you more?
Probably a better 40 time at the combine, honestly.
Really? Than tape? Actual tape?
One more game of tape, probably. I don't know. I'm not a GM. I'm not a scout. I don't know, but yeah, I mean, he's not going to be like a first round draft pick either. So, and then like, even if you don't start your draft day prep until January, I mean, you still get 4 months,
dude,
basically. It's
like April 28th when the fucking draft is.
Shut
the fuck up. Like,
when's the combine though? When's the combine? Is that I don't even know. February or something is a combine, or is it? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't watch the NFL anymore. But I'm saying, like, it to me.
You don't watch the combine. You don't watch people doing 40 times.
Yeah, there's a reason why they do that bullshit at Lucas Oil. All right, the game is faster, right? But they don't want to have this conversation about being faster means it's more dangerous. If you play that shit at Soldier Field or Heinz Field with the tall grass,
right?
See your 40 time. I just think it's completely wrong. Like I know I don't want to beat a dead horse here, but I will. And
well, the great thing about this country is that people can choose to live their life the way they want to, and there's probably some aspects of your life that they might not agree with.
True, so, but they probably not. But I'm not a pussy. How about that?
well.
All right. Unless they knock on my front door and say, "Did you say something? You say something bad about me?" I actually would tell them the truth. I'd say, "Yeah, you should have played the bowl game."
Yeah, I don't know, man. For me, to each their own. If that's what they choose, and it's on them. And will they regret it when they're 70 years old? Maybe.
But I just believe you don't live life scared, and that is saying, and I think that's a big problem outside of football, just in general. I don't think you're supposed to be afraid of life. And
yeah, I mean, some people's appetite for risk is greater than others.
The board game Risk.
That's a classic game. The Ukraine is not weak.
I just think you gotta tell your kids to go out. You can't be afraid of life. Go. You want to take a chance on this? You want to do this? You got to go.
Yeah, but you also have a boy. Now, me having girls, I'm a little more protective of them. You know, if I had a boy, I'd be like, hell yeah, get out there, man. Go make some money. Go get a job.
But no, your daughter
skirts,
says she wants to be the next Whitney Houston. You're gonna say, go out there, sing, right?
Don't do the crack.
Watch out for those Bobby Brown motherfuckers. I got drunk with Bobby Brown once. Good guy. Nice guy. Huh? Nice guy. Anyway, where the fuck are we going? I just think you can't be afraid of life. Anyway, that bowl game. Shout out to Iowa State for covering. Shout out to TCU. What'd you think of these Fenway and Pinstripe Bowls? As I got both wrong, but I didn't know North Carolina was going to trot out a running back at quarterback.
Well, I mean, it was nice that they were outdoors. They were up north where more bowl games should be. So I don't really care about the whole, playing in a baseball thing that you love. I don't really care about that, but I do like
an outdoor game. No, those things sold. You know what's great about it? And you probably didn't even notice it. I know our friend texted us about this BC Nebraska game. Well, when it's on a baseball field, that's grass. It's not the bullshit.
Yeah.
You know, like the artificial, like that, you're watching that BC Nebraska game. That was like every jersey just had that dirt and muck on it. And it was like the way football is supposed to be. And that's because they played at the baseball stadium. If they played you don't have to look that much further. That same very day, whether it was, I think it was the Arizona game or the Military Bowl, I think might not even be grass anymore. That's what I mean. It's like you get to play it on real grass. That's why it's awesome too, buddy. That's an element of my love.
I like real grass too. The thing about the baseball stadiums is that I always find it weird, and I wonder how it is in person to view when. Because the bleachers or the seats aren't like right on top of the game because of.
Let me tell you something though.
Dimensions of the baseball field, so you're way far back.
Let me tell you something. Football fans are full of shit. All right, I've been to enough games. I don't give a shit if you're at SoFi Stadium or Allegiant, those bullshit arenas. You in the other side of the end zone, you're not seeing fucking shit on the other side of the field. All right. They're under the illusion. Sure. There's not a bad seat in the house. And I'm like, no, I went there. You could not see. I was like, did they run the ball? Did they pass the ball? You know what I mean? If you're on the other side of the field, it's the same as being at a baseball ballpark, in my opinion.
I've never been at a baseball one to watch a football game. So if you have, I'll take your word for it.
Goddamn right I have.
What game did you see?
I went to a bowl game at Dodger Stadium, was it? A state championship game.
Okay.
Bobby Chavez. Shout out to Bobby Chavez. Anyway. Yeah, it'd be BC lost. How about the ACC, buddy? You're an ACC guy.
I mean, well, would you like to see you win some bowl games? Yes. Do I keep track of conference records and bowl games? No. But what you don't want to see is, an awful record. If you're like anywhere around 500 or something, okay, cool. Even if you're do better than 500, who cares? I mean, because these bowl games, with each game, who knows who's opting out, what coaches are going to be there. But what you don't want to see is, the record that the ACC has now. So their record against the SEC in the regular season, that was pretty good. So I'd rather hang my hat on that than a bowl game record. But still, I mean, you don't want to see that shitty of a record, sure.
See, I'm just attacking you, buddy.
Bring it on.
I'm attacking you.
I'm here.
Well, and will it get better with the Duke Ole Miss game? Folks, what I tell you that the college football experience is brought to you by, us, Sports Gambling Podcast Network, SGPN. Check out the SGPN app. It's free to download in the App Store and Google Play Store. You get all of our picks, our podcasts, our articles, all in one place. Just type in SGPN in the App Store. Click that download button. And remember, as always, folks, to let it ride. We're also brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Underdog Pick'em has one of the biggest menus for all the sports. You can win up to 1,000 times the amount of money you enter with Underdog Streaks. Underdog is always making it easier to win with profit boost and give me pickups. They got college football, they got college basketball, MMA, NBA, NHL, MLB, NASCAR, NFL, CFL, everything. Damn it. Go check it out. You can now use specials and boost on all flex entries as well. So what are you doing? Sign up. And when you do, sign up with the promo code TCESGPN to claim your special pick plus first time deposit offer up to $1,000 in bonus cash. UnderdogFantasy.com, promo code TCESGPN. All right, we are back. And, so for props, we're just going to cover the CFP games, unless you want to dabble into the Sun Bowl or the Citrus Bowl, some of this other bowl shit.
I haven't had a whole lot of time to prep for those. I might start looking like tomorrow morning, maybe look at some of the other games on New Year's Eve. But no, I think this show, let's just focus on the CFP, and then we'll give a DFS lineup out for Wednesday also after that.
Yeah, and let's start with this Penn State Boise game.
Yeah,
line's back at 11. It's bounced all around. The over under at 53.5. I am down to jump in on Tyler Warren again.
Yeah, I mean that's the question. What he had 4 for 33 receiving last week, 1 carry for 6 yards, only saw 6 targets, but
that was game script, man.
For sure. Yes, the Penn State offense didn't look great. Especially early on, but I mean, with the pick sixes and everything, I feel like Tyler Warren is going to have a big day in these playoffs. It didn't happen round 1, so round 2, yeah, I think it could happen. Now
it didn't need to happen round 1
for sure. Yeah. Now I will tell you his receiving yardage number went up from 69.5 to 75.5,
despite having a horrible day.
Yeah.
Statistically,
right.
Like the first thing that jumps out to me is you can get 100 yards or more at plus 205.
Yeah. You can get plus 350 if he hits 120 yards. His 2
I see
touchdowns,
390.
Okay. All right. His 2 touchdowns is the same at plus 360. You know what? I can jump back on Tyler Warren. I think he's that good of a football player. And if the game script is more standard, he has a better day. I think this game could be more standard. So I agree. I think all the above there, the touchdown props, maybe that little ladder action. I think Tyler Warren does have a big day.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot that I think, and he's just a beast at, he's John Riggins 2.0. I just think he'll, especially against Boise, where I feel like that shit matters to me. Like you look at some of their like Boise's been good, but I think like where would they be the weakest and stuff? Depth, right? Bringing in that safety and pass packages. You know what I mean? That the backup safety. So like, I think that's where Tyler Warren can be so dangerous against.
I did mention this on the pick show that Boise has been really good at versus opposing tight ends. I think I want to say 43 yards is the most an opposing tight ends put up against Boise this year.
But who have they played?
Yeah, I mean, Oregon's got with Ferguson, they have a nice tight end. Wyoming's got a decent tight end, but that whole offense was awful.
Yeah, that whole offense couldn't put up 44 yards a game.
They haven't seen anybody like Tyler Warren.
Yeah.
So it's kind of unfair to do it in college. Like in the pros, like if a team's like really good against a tight end, that probably carries over from team to team, or if they're really bad against a tight end, that seems from week to week, they're consistently bad. So even though Boise's been really good against a tight end this year, I wouldn't be surprised if Tyler Warren goes off. So I like that. But when we're talking about this game, I think, and I'm not even sure if I'm going to play this side, but the big question is, what do you do with Ashton Jeanty and his 126.5 rushing yards? Do you plan on playing a side there, or if not, what's your lean, if we can use that word?
No, I would take the higher in that. I think I probably will end up throwing someone that I noted it. I didn't like fall in love with it, but I think Boise is going like, this is not going to be a blowout to me. Like I think Boise's live. I think they are live against Penn State.
Well, Penn State has the 7th best rushing defense as far as yardage per game in the nation. Only one running back this year has gone over 100 against them. That was USC's Woody Marks, who went for 111.
Oh, but that can be diluted a little bit because Ohio State's got 2 great backs. They rushed for 176 yards against Penn State.
Yeah.
So okay, you want to bring up some of this other bullshit, like Illinois was kind of a pass team this year, believe it or not. Who have they played?
Well, so Brashard Smith went 18 for 62. Jordan James for Oregon in the Big Ten championship game, he went 20 for 87. You're right. Judkins only had 14 carries for 95 yards. If you add his yardage with Henderson's, that would have won over 126.5. I don't know. I'm on the fence here. I don't feel good enough to play either way. I think if you like Boise to cover, you expect Jeanty to have a big game, and maybe
Jeanty had 192 yards against Oregon.
Yeah. Yeah.
In Autzen. You're telling me you were getting them at a neutral?
This is the biggest of stages. He needs the ball out.
He averaged 7.7 yards a rush against Oregon.
So are you officially going with the over on the Jeanty rushing yardage?
I will. All right.
I'm not going to play it, but I want to ask you when the next game comes up, which play like better, Jeanty or Scadaboo, and the over under on each. But let's finish this game first. I think if Penn State does sell out to stop the run, Boise's going to need to have a decent game passing. I like Madsen, Boise's quarterback, over 167.5 passing yards this game.
I like it too. And I also like if you can find the interception prop. I feel like I saw it earlier.
I didn't see it on either DraftKings or BetMGM, so I don't have that handy. But I think he might throw one.
Oh, yeah. I think he might throw two. But I would say that's one that I feel pretty decent about. Boise's got a good tight end themselves.
Yeah.
They have a good, like Cam Camper was a good wideout at Indiana. I know he's probably, actually, I don't know. Boise made it further. That's hilarious, by the way. He leaves Indiana. They go to the playoffs, but Boise still makes it around further where he landed in the group of 5, thanks to this 12-team playoff. I think Boise has better weapons in the air than people think. So
I agree. I think Louder, Camper, and also don't sleep on Latrell Caples.
Yeah, man. Out of Texas,
Close the regular season back-to-back games with touchdowns, and Caples is plus 320 anytime touchdown. I plan on Louder's plus 280 and Camper's plus 310. All three of those sound decent. I think Boise only throws for 1 or 2 touchdowns this game. But the best odds is Caples at plus 320. So I plan to place a bet on Caples ATD.
Yeah, no, I think that's a good play there. I think that's a really good play. I didn't really touch any other like personal player props in this game. Do you have anything else out there you want to throw away or Aller? I don't know. Maybe you're on Aller.
Yeah, I was on Aller's rushing yardage last week, and he was looking pretty good at the half. I think the over-under was 16. He had 20 something, but then he took in the third quarter. He took two consecutive plays. He took sacks, which was a 14 total yardage loss. So and he didn't have to run the ball the whole second half. So again, Gaines' script kind of screwed me last week with Warren and Drew Aller. I might look at Aller do that rush ladder again, just because I think he can run for like 30, 40 yards. And if so, you're cashing, plus 190, plus 500 to get to 40 yardage. So I might go back with that one as well.
If we're talking first touchdown, I have a few that I like playing one of these in every game, to tell you the truth.
For me here, if I can cut you off, I think Penn State is probably going to score first. So I looked at that team, and unfortunately for them, like their touchdowns come between Singleton. Who's the other running back? I'm drawing a blank on now. Who's the other Penn State running back? Not
I was said Aller.
Allen. Katron Allen.
Yeah.
The touchdowns are either Singleton, Allen, or Warren. So I'm not touching any of that. The one that looked kind of attractive, but I really doubt if it can hit again, was his first touchdown, Penn State defense, special teams. That hit last week. This week is plus 2,500. The fact that they're not at home, I don't know how realistic that is. Maybe worth a little sprinkle, but I doubt if that happens in back-to-back weeks. So I plan on not betting a first touchdown for this game, but tell me who you like.
Well, Boise did go up first at Oregon.
Yeah.
No, it was 3-0. They got to like the 24-yard line, I think, or 22-yard line or something like that. So I do think they could score first, especially with the touchdown. I think it's worth taking a shot. I think Jeanty obviously is minus 105 for the first touchdown, but I think you go with a guy whose legs have kind of been an X factor in all of those big games. Go back to those the UNLV games, right? Madsen on the ground actually played off pretty well. I think he had 2 rushing touchdowns against UNLV, the game in the desert there. Plus 850
for our first
I think
touchdown.
GT is such a distraction. Yeah,
I'm showing plus 2200 on DK right now
for first touchdown.
Yeah, Madsen.
I'm on DK right now too. How the fuck are you seeing that?
Oh, first touchdown score, Max Madsen, 2200.
I'm looking at. Okay, hold on. I'm looking at first touchdown for Boise State. So
tricky. Okay.
Wait, where's that at then? TD score. Okay.
That's an interesting angle though. So then you're kind of, obviously it's not as juicy, but then you don't have to worry about who scores first between Boise or Penn State. I'm not sure which one I like better. I do like taking quarterbacks, like rushing quarterbacks, because I think you're getting pretty good odds. If it's first touchdown, I'm not gonna bet anything unless it's at least like plus 1,000 or something. So I don't mind either of those. If you do first touchdown overall or first touchdown.
You ready for this stat? He's got 3 rushing touchdowns in his last 4 games. The only game he didn't have a rushing touchdown in was the Wyoming game. He got one against UNLV. He got one against Oregon State. He got one against San Jose State. He got one against UNLV the other time. He got one against, I think Portland State.
So it sounds like you like his anytime touchdown potential also plus 340, which, hey, that's not too shabby.
Well, especially when there's such a distraction, like they do a lot of they'll do the freeze option there where, I feel like the whole defense will go with Jeanty.
Right.
And he could just run it in because he's pretty mobile. It's kind of like Sam Levitt in a way.
I think if I'm playing Madsen touchdown, I think I agree. I think I give anytime or Boise's first, and maybe not overall first, because they are an 11-point dog.
Not for me. Anyway, look, let's jump. Anything else you got in this game?
No, that's pretty much it, I think.
All right, let's jump on over to the next game. But before I do that, I want to let the good folks know that the college football experience is brought to you by MyBookie.ag. Yes, we're back with MyBookie.ag. They've been with us for a long time. And they have props for every game, and the live dealer casino is a bundle of fun. They got new early cash out options too. I like what was our game tomorrow? I like Michigan plus 14 against Bama. Head over to MyBookie.ag, promo code TCE SGPN for 100% deposit match up to $1,000. Plus they're going to give you a little $10 casino chip. That's MyBookie.ag, promo code TCE SGPN. We're also brought to you by Rhythm. SGPN's proud partner. Rhythm is the #1 powered AI sports betting platform, and it helps provide bettors of all levels the ability to build custom predictive betting models in seconds to get predictions for betting on money lines, spreads, totals, props, all that good stuff. You can sit back and copy one of the top performing models from the leaderboard, or you can build your own. Rhythm, that's what I do. Rhythm will adjust around what you like. And then now you can track the props in the Rhythm app, which is fire. They got everything too. College football, college basketball, NBA, NFL, everything. All right. So claim your free 7-day trial period today by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. That's RITHMM. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. All right, we are back and we jump over. Shout out to the chat. Joe Allison, it's tough in Massachusetts, huh?
How far are you to a border though? That whole not bet college props things. I know what other state does that. Maryland, I think, or maybe Maryland.
Jersey. I was thinking New Jersey.
Yeah, it's absolutely ridiculous. Come on, man. Also, shout out to not a reptilian person.
Yeah, he
also
says,
he
said, how the fuck did Kobe get his tree straight, but couldn't get those shelves? You don't understand the dynamics of that room. You got to remember, there's a lot of earthquakes in LA. That room was a downhill room. that room you were downhill. Anyway,
Shit, he's on a boat lobstering. That's awesome, Joe Allison.
Oh,
wow, cool.
That's my type. See, TCE reaches all levels.
It does.
This guy's out there on the Atlantic, battling all that good shit. Cape Cod, there he is.
I've seen a couple episodes of Deadliest Catch.
Yeah, that job looks absolutely horrible, by the way. but
but the perks are fresh lobsters, so
yeah,
I like that.
What do I got to do to get a? What do we got to do to get a shipment of
of lobster tails? Come on,
some lobster. Even if you find some other scattered fish, you know what I mean. I like octopus. I eat all that shit. All right, let's go. Got a sunfish in there.
Can coexist.
Yeah. Where are we at with that?
I know the human being and fish can coexist peacefully.
Told me like scattered ass
Joe
and scattered
Allison.
seafood.
Yeah, not if you're Joe Allison. Right? They can't exist peacefully because he's coming for you. Shout out to Joe. Saturday morning, Texas, Arizona State. At that bullshit stadium there in Atlanta.
So this is the one I wanted to ask you. So we talked about Jeanty being 126.5. Scatterboo is 99.5. Which you like the over on Jeanty more?
I do.
Yeah. Even though it's 25, 26, 27 yards more.
I do. And the logic is this. Texas has a nasty D line.
Yeah.
Jordan Tyson's out for Arizona State. And Scatterboo won't shut the fuck up. Did you see his comments?
No, what did he say?
No one can stop me in the nation. I'm like, okay, dude.
Under.
Yeah, I'm like, I love the guy personally, but I just think it's a bad match. Like to me, the line of scrimmage is where Texas is probably better than a lot of teams.
Sure.
And with losing your top wideout, I think it'd be a little different if they had Jordan Tyson, but
his last 3 games, 170, 177, and 147. Obviously, we all know he's been crushing it lately.
But his last 3 games, he played who?
Not Texas.
Yeah.
Hey, Texas was in the Big 12 last year. He played a bunch of Big 12 teams. Come on.
No, you're right. And their whole offensive line their whole defensive line. Bill Norton, who made that huge play, was at Arizona last year.
Yeah.
But there's a reason why they whooped Arizona so bad this year. Bill Norton left and a slew of other guys. I think they have 2 defensive linemen from Arizona on Texas.
All right. Well, let me ask you this then. What about his receiving yards? 27.5.
That I will play.
All right. I'm with you. Because he's gone over that in 7 games this year. I mean, over the course of the whole year, he has 37 catches, over 500 yards, 3 touchdowns. So maybe that's, kind of a creative way to get him the ball where there's not so much, get him outside a little bit on some screens and whatnot. So I like that. I'll go over on the 27.5 receiving yards. I won't touch the rushing yardage.
What do you think about Quinn Ewers? This is something you have to ask yourself in the DFS side of things. With them with a short leash with Archman, who's gotten into some games. Ewers also has an injury history. She's a huge injury history. He's missed a lot of games. Is there any chance? Because one of the things I'll say that scares me, I want Arizona State to win more than anybody, but I think when I think about, like, they haven't faced a team this balanced.
Right.
And that's the scary part to me of, like, Ewers could have a monster game to me.
I actually like the under on Quinn Ewers, 251.5 passing yardage. He's been under that in 4 of the last 5 games as Texas has turned into more of a physical running team. So that, philosophy worked against Clemson last week. I think it's going to work again. I think they're going to pound the ball more so than pass the ball. So I'm going to go under 251.5 for Quinn Ewers passing yardage.
I think I'm not going to touch that one because I just think he's the biggest wild card in this thing. I'm not going to touch an over and under, but I am curious to me what you thought with Ewers. How about the other side of the Samuel Levitt? Now this is tricky. What did he do? He threw for 214 in the Big 12 championship against Iowa State, which I don't know. They're all right. He threw for 291 against that shitty Arizona defense. And against BYU, he did throw for 247. Do you load up with Sam Levitt? See, the thing to me, call me crazy, I like the rushing prop
with Levitt.
Yeah, it's the same thing with what's his name for Boise?
Madsen.
Madsen.
So you're talking about a rushing touchdown. You're not talking about rushing yardage,
or both. I like both really. I think both can be tricky. I think Texas will prepare for Cam Scatterbo and probably over prepare for Cam Scatterbo, and that leaves Sam Levitt, who's kind of like my guy Hauser at ECU. I know they both were at Michigan State last year. But I'm looking, where's Sam Levitt? So, dude, 25 plus rushing yards, plus 300.
My fear here is that Texas is going to get a handful of sacks, and that negative yardage in college, different than the NFL, is going to affect that rushing yardage.
Buddy, but this guy, what did he do? I feel like he does a lot when it comes to the ground attack. So he rushed for 33 in the Big 12 championship, right?
Yeah.
That's with the sacks too. Now, obviously, the Iowa State D line is a lot different than the Texas D line. But dude, in some of these big games, the game particularly that I was at, the Kansas game, he had 77 rushing yards. Dude, the Mississippi State game, he had 68 rushing yards.
He's got some good wheels. I'm just worried about sacks. If he takes 3 or 4 sacks, that might screw you up the whole. I mean, because
this is easily the best defensive line he's played all year.
Yeah,
though.
Iowa State had 1 sack.
Yeah,
so I don't know how many yards. Just say like 5 yards. So he, only minus 5 yards there. If he has minus 15, minus 20 yardage and sacks, that could screw your rushing total. So I don't hate it if you want to play that.
I'm going to play it. I just think Scatterbo talking all this shit, classic Ric Flair style, is a distraction. And our boy Sam Levitt will have some opportunities to run the ball there.
I'm going to go, if you're talking about rushing yardage, I'm going to go back to Texas. I think
I was about to say this.
Wisner,
you got to take it.
Last week it was 83.5. Now it's 86.5. Last week he went over 100 on 15 carries and didn't play most of the second half because he was a little banged up.
They have the best offensive line in college football.
Yeah. I think Wisner could have, and you could, even 120 yards is plus 205 if you want to do like a little step ladder with Wisner's rushing totals. But he's been a beast second half of this year, so I expect that to continue.
I mean, he got injured in the Georgia game, I believe, in the SEC championship. He only rushed for 51. If you throw that out, he has 3 straight games of over 100 yards, and 2 of those 3 over 150 yards. Yeah. Load up, Contravion Wisner.
Who else you like on this? Isaiah Bond is back. He should.
They have so many damn wideouts though.
But like. Yes, they do. Between Golden and DeAndre Moore,
even the kid from Oregon State that's deep on that, it returns punts and kicks for him.
Bolden, Silas Bolden.
Yeah, he's a home run threat, man.
Last week it was Gunnar Helm doing most of the damage. The tight end, he got 6 balls for 77 yards on 7 targets. I think that's not going to happen 2 games in a row. So I kind of like the under on Helm this week, which is at 46.5. I'm going to go the over on Isaiah Bond, who's back and healthy, just 26.5. This is almost like my TJ Moore play last week. I mean, just catch 2 balls, you can get over 26.5.
I have 2 here that I like. Matthew Golden is one. If you look at the big games, he's shown up in a lot of these big games, man. So Matthew Golden to me is one. 60 or more receiving yards at plus 110, 80 at plus 245. I'm going to say take the 80 at plus 245.
I like Golden.
Another one is this, who stepped up big time with the loss of Jordan Tyson and I've been waiting for this guy to have a big game, he went to Colorado State and then he ends up at, but Melquan Stovall was a beast at Nevada back in the day when they had Carson Strong. He is now there. To me, he's the one. He had 4 for 91, and I believe he had another catch that was called back. Right?
Yeah.
With Tyson injured, this is a guy that's done nothing all year. Right? Nothing.
Right. We all thought Gullery, is that how you pronounce his name?
Yeah, the
Gullery
Idaho State transfer.
Yes, he was there like wide receiver 2 all year. We thought he'd be wide receiver 1. He had a quiet Big 12 championship game. Stovall really blew up.
Stovall dude, he was like an all Mountain West wide. I don't understand what happened in the past 2 years, but I've always been impressed with him when he plays. So I will jump on that action. Melquan Stovall, dude, you can get over 50 yards at plus 175. He had a 63-yard catch against Iowa State.
I'm going to sit this one out, and I need him to prove it to me 2 games in a row. Because like you said, he had done nothing all year long.
And last year too, but 2 years ago, he was super, or I'm sorry, 3 years ago, that would technically be, I guess, he was super legit. So yeah.
All right. What else do we have?
That's here? It for the game for me. I'll take a first touchdown. I don't know if you want to jump to there yet, but
I got a couple first touchdowns. Yeah, that's pretty much it, I think. And what's yours? What's your FTD?
First touchdown. I am actually gonna go. This is what Texas to me is. I took Arizona State because I'm contract. My contract. I can't take Texas, but I think Texas is gonna fuck them up. I think it's gonna be like 42-17. So I am definitely on the Texas side of things here, and Wisner plus 450. Yeah, it's chalky. I think it's the play, and I think if you're looking for another sprinkle there, I would say you look for something like you mentioned, Bond plus 1200. Yeah, I think those are your angles. Really, I don't think you got to take a Longhorn to me.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. Just about an hour ago, Bond was plus 1400, and you're right. I now see plus 1200. So I still like that though. Bond is one of my guys there. I think he's one of the plays. And if I'm gonna throw out one more, I'm gonna go Quinn Ewers plus 3,500. Every once in a while I do like to take a chance on a quarterback getting a rushing touchdown. I know Ewers doesn't run it often.
I'm about to say with him getting dinged up a little bit, I actually think you should play Arch more than that.
I mean, is Arch going to be in there on the first or second drive? I mean,
if it's a 4th and inches, maybe.
Okay, yeah, maybe, but I like the 3,500 there. So, first touchdown, little sprinkle on Bond, little sprinkle on Ewers.
All right, Ohio State, Oregon, the Rose Bowl. Obviously they played earlier this year. Ohio State laying 2.5, the over under at 55.5. Just gonna. I think you were with me in locking up Ohio State.
Yes, I do like the Buckeyes here.
I think it's a revenge game too for Will Howard. So I am going to load up. Now, I understand if you look at Will Howard, you think that's kind of a weird out. I thought it was a weird get from the start, to tell you the truth. He just didn't really fit to me, but he threw for 311 yards last week against Tennessee. And you look at his game logs. Prior to that, the Michigan game, 175, Indiana at 201, Northwestern 247. You go back to the Oregon game, he threw for 326 yards, man. Guess what? I think he could do it again. To me, you're not in Autzen. This is in LA, where I think the crowd might be 60-40 in Ohio State's favor.
Sure.
300 passing yard day is plus 310, man. Plus 310.
I mean, he looked really good last week. I like that. I wasn't planning on playing either of the passing yardage with either quarterback. I don't mind the play. I think there's a good chance he could get up there again. I like both quarterbacks over 1.5 passing touchdowns. They're both at minus 120, so you got to lay a little bit of juice there. Again, both of the quarterbacks, Howard and Gabriel, threw 2 touchdowns in the first game. I think both can throw 2 touchdowns again, because I would not be surprised if we're looking at a game in the high 20s, low 30s, like we did in September.
Yeah, I think it'll be in the low 30s. Another one that I'm just really excited to play, and you're going to hear this in my DFS portion. I believe one of the best wideouts in the country, and the stats won't back you up on this, but his name is Evan Stewart. I think Evan Stewart is just a fucking beast. I think he's a future NFL stud. I know you look at the game log, it's kind of puzzling. He didn't play the Penn State game. He had 4 yards receiving against Washington.
Yeah.
But against Ohio State in the first matchup, he had 7 for 149 and a score, by the way, a touchdown too.
Yeah.
Dude, I don't think Ohio State has the DBs to guard both Tez Johnson and Evan Stewart. So
I can't do it. I can't. We've talked about Evan Stewart every week in our DFS show. I don't see why he's not more consistent, but yeah, I just
many people say that Oregon has only played a couple big time opponents all year. Yeah. Boise and Ohio State. Maybe you throw Michigan in there. Michigan, he did have a touchdown and only 3 for 16, but against Boise and against Ohio State, he had over 100 yards in both those games. That's why you take plus 90 receiving yards at plus 800. Are you fucking kidding me, dude?
I cashed on a ladder with him, and it might have been the Ohio State game, the first one, but I've also failed miserably on some of his outings. Goose egg against Penn State in the Big Ten Championship.
I don't think he played that game.
And then but look at some of the other games. 1 catch versus Washington, 1 catch versus Illinois, multiple games with just 2 or 3 catches. Dude, I don't mind the play, but I just don't have the stomach for it again because he's burned me a couple times. I mean, he is completely boom or bust. He's had 4 games over 90 receiving yards.
This is the Rose Bowl.
7 games below 50
in the Rose Bowl. I think this is one college football players dream of playing in. Probably the only.
All you. Yeah. That's all you. What I'll do as far as Oregon Duck receivers, I'm going to go Terrence Ferguson, the tight end. In the first game, he had 4 for 62. You can play also another small ladder on him. If he goes for 60 yards again, it's plus 300. So obviously not as crazy, plus 900 or whatever on Evan Stewart. But Terrence Ferguson, I think, could have a decent game here. He's also an attractive first touchdown if we want to jump to that real quick. Plus 1,500 first touchdown for the tight end.
Yeah, that's not bad right there. Yeah, I mean, I kind of think Ohio State scores first, but I mean, this one's such a back and forth game. It wouldn't shock me if the Ducks scored first, but here's one for you. You know, you go back and look at that Ohio State Oregon matchup back in September or October, whatever. I think it was early October. It was 32-31. I think Ohio State will score more points than back in October.
I think they will score more points than Oregon this game.
They're scoring more points than they scored the last game.
Not by a whole lot. I think, maybe they're at like 34 or 35 or something.
Well, that's plus 160 over 33.5, buddy.
Okay. Not bad.
And if you want over 31.5, it's even plus 135. So, 32.5 plus 145. So I think there's value there. They're going to score more points than they did then.
I like it. Let me throw out an under because we haven't talked about under yet. I'm going to go under on Jordan James, the Duck running back. He did have a nice first game also where he went 23 carries for 115 yards. I think Ohio State has improved in stopping the run as the season went along, minus the Michigan game perhaps. But I think it's going to go under 86.5. I do think Oregon has more success in the air rather than on the ground.
Yeah, I think that's going to be accurate. I think if you're looking for the rushing crop, you got to look at that pussy quarterback that does that bullshit abrupt slide. I think you're looking at Dillon Gabriel, my most hated player in college football, but that bullshit works at the same time. And by the way, Will Howard is another one where I still think there's value on him rushing too. Remember, he had a lot of yards rushing in that game.
Yeah,
I want to actually look back at that. I just remember him running a lot in that game.
I got it up here. I got the box score up here. 9 for 13 and a touchdown. So
the sacks probably hurt him because I do remember him rushing for like that final drive. I feel like he had like a couple different.
Yeah, Oregon had one sack on the day. I'm not sure how much negative yardage it was. But early in the season, Howard was rushing for a touchdown like almost every game. But I think that kind of cooled off towards the end.
What did he do last week?
He had 7 rushing touchdowns.
What did he do? What did he do last week yards wise?
5 for 37. rushing.
Dude, over 25 yards is plus 240.
That sounds pretty attractive. Over 24, you said?
Yeah.
Well,
25.
So he's done that. He's gone over 25 2 times on the year. So 2 out of 13 games is not a great percentage, which is probably why that number's where it's at. But I think he could surpass that.
Dude, this is like the final game of the year. So I think like maybe you're protecting the quarterback. When you're playing Michigan State, you say, hey, Howard, you don't run the ball. I think this is you go all out here. So,
well, I'm going to go back to the well with Travion Henderson. He is outplaying Judkins big time, rushing and receiving. Rushing his over-unders at 52.5, receiving 23.5. Still deciding which way I'm going to go. I might just put a bet on both. I think he's starting to get more touches than Judkins because he's doing more with his touches. So I like him. And you could also talk me into.
Sorry, I don't know what's happening.
Is that a restaurant back there?
Yeah, it is a restaurant here.
A dishwasher to quiet down.
Uh,
Emeka Egbuka could have another big day. He also did a lot receiving the first game, and he's sitting at 58.5. I like the over on Egbuka.
Yeah, I'll take the Travion Henderson first touchdown prop. I like your angle. Plus 650 first score of the game. I think the Buckeyes will strike first. Sprinkle a little bit on that. And how about this? 2 touchdowns plus 425.
Okay.
All right, I'm done with that game.
Me too.
I'm done with this witness. All right. What did he say? My cousin Vinny. Notre Dame at Georgia. This is one. You remember that 6-3 LSU Alabama game?
Yeah.
Do we have another one of these happening here with Notre Dame Georgia?
I think there's gonna be a little bit more points than that, but let's just say the Ohio State Oregon game, there should be more points in that one.
Yeah, I'll be honest. This is the hardest game for me as far as like actual. I'll take a first touchdown. The yardage one is tricky to me here. If anything, I kind of like Riley Leonard's rushing. I know we ate shit on it last week,
but he didn't. So that game pissed me off because I thought him and his rushing abilities were going to be a focus of the offense, and I don't think he had a design run until he got that like 2-yard rushing touchdown in the second half. He had a couple scrambles where he picked up some yardage, but I thought for sure they were going to, get him moving the ball, run the ball more. Perhaps this game, but I feel a little. I don't think I'm going to go back to that well because I didn't see it last week.
Well, I can tell you this. I don't know that anyone's going to score in the first. What's your final score prediction in this game?
Georgia wins 23-16.
I got Notre Dame like 20-16. Right.
Okay. So we're right around the same amount of total.
It's going to be 16-13, and then Notre Dame and Jeremiah Love's going to score somehow on a screen or something. But I think if you're looking for first touchdown, how about this one? Gunnar motherfucking Stockton. All right, plus 1100 first touchdown of the game.
Dude, this is my favorite game for the first touchdowns, just because I think it has the most options. Like on Georgia, if you think Georgia's going to score the first touchdown, I want to go deep. I want to do a sprinkle on a couple guys. I'm talking about Cash Jones at plus 2,800. The little white running back they like to throw the ball out to on the screens and stuff. The tight ends for Georgia. An inexperienced, Eurosec is plus 4,000.
Yeah.
But also Lawson Lucky plus 2,500 or Oscar Delt plus 2,200. The trick is which one do you want to sprinkle, or do you just spread it out and do small sprinkles on a couple of them? And on the other hand, one of the Notre Dame offensive guys I like is Jordan Faison, that receiver.
Yes,
He's
emerging. He's emerging.
9 targets last week. He caught 7 for 89. I like his ladder. His ladder starts at 31 yards, minus 120. It goes up to 80 yards, which is plus 900. Anytime touchdown, plus 333. And his first touchdown, I think, is plus 1,600. That's one guy.
That's worth a shot. That's worth a shot. Yeah.
So this game's gonna be fun with the first touchdown, just because nobody, there's some chalky plays, but I don't know if it's gonna go chalky.
I just don't know how many touchdowns are going to be in this game. But that's
what
why
about
I really like a lot of the
Stockton?
props.
How about Stockton and his rushing yardage?
So he rushed for what, 7 yards playing what, 1 quarter or 2 quarters last week? Or
And if you go back to the bowl game against Florida State last year, was I think the only game he played in. He took 7 carries for 46 yards.
That's what I like to hear. That's why we sprinkle that rushing touchdown prop. What's his yardage for the game?
So
I don't even think I looked at this.
18 yards.
No, we're taking it.
If he runs for 50 yards, it's plus 650.
It's worth it. It's worth a sprinkle.
We don't know that much about Gunnar Stockton. We haven't seen him play a whole lot.
I know he drives a 1984 Ford truck.
Gotcha.
To me, right there, I'm sold.
All right, so I like the play on Stockton. What about his over 1.5 pass touchdowns? It's plus 235. That's where I lose you.
I mean, I just don't know. Yeah, I mean, look, Georgia struggled to run the ball a lot this year. So in that regard, sign me up for it. But I just, are they going to get 2 touchdowns? Are they going to get 3 touchdowns?
Yeah, I mean, if they get 2 touchdowns, you assume that at least one's going to be rushing. So can they get at least 3 touchdowns, and then maybe you have a chance at that. But at plus 235, I might throw a little bit on that.
I mean, Georgia scored 13 points in the second half against Texas, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Not including overtime. Overtime, they scored 2 field goals, right? Or no, they scored a touchdown in overtime. But it doesn't count. You're at the 25-yard line. I think this is the thing that's going to be fascinating to watch is Notre Dame's defense against him because maybe he's good. Who knows? We saw Stetson Bennett come out of nowhere.
What about our guy Mitchell Evans? Going back to the well or no?
I don't like the props in this game. Evans, if you're looking for Notre Dame's edge, like I think he can have an edge against the linebackers and safeties of Georgia, but
they didn't even look his way last year.
I know.
I mean, he had what, 1 target, maybe 2 targets.
I just don't like a lot in this game as far as particular player props. If anything, I think if you're looking for this game, if I'm forced to look at stuff here or to I would say the team total stuff is the angle you look at. You like Georgia to take care of business here.
I do.
So I would say, like, can they hold Notre Dame under 18.5 points or 17.5 points plus 165? You know,
that's not bad.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I don't know if Notre Dame's going to be able to score 20, more than 20. Like, what did I have it? I had a 20 to 16 or 21 to 16 or something.
Yeah.
I think that's tempting. Look, if you check out this, if you think under 21 or under 20.5 points is plus 110.
Not bad. Not bad. You're right. I don't like this game as much as the others, but I think I'm just going to stick to some of that fun first touchdown plays and maybe Stockton with his rushing and maybe even that passing touchdown prop also.
You got to do the first touchdown for all 4 playoff games. Let's go.
Yeah.
All right, let's get to the DFS side of this. Enough of this.
All right. Let's throw out a lineup real quick.
And if you're looking for our picks, preview and picks on each game, go check out our last episode. It has all of that. We go in depth with game script, everything, what will happen in those 4 playoff games. DFS, how'd you find the slate? Or did you come in saying, well, I'm definitely I found myself terrified of Ewers because of he could be a home run threat, but he also could, I think game script, you have to factor that into that game. I think Ewers is the trickiest play, because Arch Manning comes in, but also they might be up so much that Arch Manning would come in because he's the future. They're already talking about Ewers not going to be there next year.
And the second half of the year, maybe other than the Georgia game, they really haven't passed the ball much. They've been running the ball more. So no, I did not roster Quinn Ewers. The game I feel like the offenses might be best at, and I feel like it's going to be competitive. So there's, game script wise, there's not going to be, like running out the clock or anything. That is Ohio State, Oregon. We saw there was a lot of offense in the first matchup, so I rostered both Gabriel and Howard.
I did too, man.
Oh, Wow.
Great minds think alike. Went with Gabriel and Howard, and I'll be honest, I have a lot of action in this specific game. I went with Travion Henderson.
I did as well.
Okay.
We are 3 for 3 so far.
And I went with my guy Wisner.
4 for 4 so far. We did
All
not.
right, I went with the third running back, and I went with ETN for Georgia.
5 for 5.
Get the fuck out of here. So all right, hold on. Wide receivers.
Well, look, hold on. Before we go to receiver, I mean, Georgia, Notre Dame, Riley Mills, their best defensive lineman gone. So makes sense to go for the ground game. Texas, you definitely want to go with the ground game. And then everything I was said about Henderson, playing better than Judkins, that makes a ton of sense too. And the pricing of those guys too. ETN only $6K, Henderson only 5.8K, Wisner 7K. He's the most expensive one, but he's been crushing it. So we're in agreement so far. Hopefully we got a couple different receivers.
I went with Jeremiah Smith, 6,200. Did you roster Jeremiah Smith?
Well, if you remember last week on the fly, I took him out and put in Egbuka. Egbuka was solid, but Jeremiah Smith delivered, and I am not going to take him out of my lineup this week. So we are 6 for 6 so far.
I am big.
Hold on, stop. We have never, ever given out the exact same lineup. I know there's only 3 games, but 2 guys to go.
This guy's big play Golden. Matthew Golden, receiver for Texas, 4,900.
Yep.
And that leaves me with my guy, Evan Stewart.
Well, my friend, we have our side bet. You went Evan Stewart at 3.7K. I went my guy, just talking about him, Jordan Faison for Notre Dame, 3.8K. Whew.
6 of 7. Unfucking believable.
No, 7 of 8, right?
Oh, 7 of 8. Yeah, 7 of 8. Yeah, I can't count.
Well, that's our side bet. That makes it easy.
Yep, I already won that thing, so send me that bottle of bourbon now. Folks, that's our show. We have a college football sports gambling podcast episode coming out in about 2 hours. We also have the college basketball experience going late at 2 a.m. I'm also on VSiN at 1:30 a.m. Eastern. So check it all out. We're talking college football, talking college basketball all night. Happy early New Year. Honestly, stay safe. Best wishes to you, your loved ones, your friends, your enemies, everything. All right. And thanks for rocking with us in 2024. Give NC Nick a follow on Twitter at NC__NICK.
Happy New Year's.
I'm on Twitter at the Colby D. The College Football Experience is on Twitter at TCE on SGPN. And shout out to Not a Reptilian again. Like and subscribe because we're gonna play. If we don't get, we need like 400 people really to join in because if we don't get this number, all 5 Human Centipede movies, because Patty C did that snuff film of Human Centipede 5 in his apartment. I haven't watched it, but he sent it over. We're gonna play that on rotation for 24 hours. If we don't get to 1,500 over the next, we're sitting here at like what, 27 hours. We're fucked. Get on over there, folks. Check out the Sports Gambling Podcast. Check out the Bottom Line Bombs with my guy CJ Sullivan. Till next time, folks. This is the College Football Experience, DFS style. You better start thinking about yours, and we out of here.